Hey. In this video, we're going to talk about the Gratavid and Blackbaud integration around gifts added in NXT. Automatically take some action in Gratavid, such as send a Gratavid. There are integrations for sending data back into NXT. So when a Gratavid is sent, when it's replied to, or when it's watched, you can have that automatically send engagement data back into NXT, but we're not going to cover those in this video. View our help center, the documentation, and you can see videos on how that works. All right, so before I talk Blackbaud, I just want to make sure you understand Gratavid. So within Gratavid, you have a section called Notes. Think of these like your campaigns or your templates. And so this might be where you build out your campaign. It's going to have your branding on here. And then you'll have like a default kind of generic thank you message. So imagine this is a student or someone saying thank you. And so what you can do is you can automatically send these when donations come into NXT, or you can have a task created for you or someone on your team. So the Gratavid task list, this is just a list of personalized videos you need to create. For example, you can see I've got John right here. John made a $1,000 donation. Need to record John a video. Got Katie right here. Katie made a $500 donation. So this is the Gratavid task list. Sweet. So now we understand those two concepts in Gratavid, sending automatically or creating a task. Let's get into the integration. Awesome. So like I said, I'm just going to cover the new gift added integration. But just know there's other integrations for sending data back into Blackbaud, such as task sent, replies, and watches, but I'm going to cover those in a separate section. Sweet. So let's get into it. So what I can do is I can say, hey, when a new gift is added in Blackbaud, take some action within Gratavid. So what you can do is you can say automatically send a note. So that can be any note campaign you want to send, or create a task. And then the cool thing is you can add some rules based off a lot of different filters. So to get started, I'm going to say, hey, if this is the constituent's first gift, we want to create a task, and then we want to assign that task to someone on our team, maybe our development officer. And then the second thing you can do is the second thing you can do for a basic setup is you can say if that gift amount is greater than or equal to 500, let's create a task and then assign that task to someone on our team. But what's really cool is you can say, hey, assign it to the Blackbaud assigned fundraiser. And so what this is going to do is when that gift comes in, our system's going to say, hey, what constituent made that gift in NXT? Do they have a fundraiser assigned to them? And if they do, then the Gratavid task will automatically be assigned to that correct fundraiser. That fundraiser will get an email from Gratavid. And then if they have the Gratavid iOS or Android app downloaded, they'll get an app notification. And so right from the app, they can record that personalized video. So it's just a really great scalable way to make sure your thank you videos are getting assigned to the right person. And say a fundraiser doesn't exist, then you can have a backup person it gets assigned to. Sweet. And so, really think of these like a waterfall. And so the way it works is it says, okay, when that new gift comes in, first thing we're going to check is we're going to say, hey, is it a first-time donor? If it is a first-time donor, it's that first gift, create a task, and then assign that to my development officer. If it's not a first-time gift or first-time donor, then this rule is going to evaluate. It's going to say, hey, is it greater than or equal to 500? If it is, create a task, assign it to the Blackbaud assigned fundraiser. And then if the fundraiser doesn't exist, then the backup value can be Sarah. Then there's one last one we recommend for basic setup. And then this one is where you say, hey, if the gift type is any of these, and then you say, is it a recurring gift? And so this will trigger when a recurring gift is set up. It's really important to thank those. And so same kind of concept. You could do the development officer and then have a backup value here. And so right off the bat, this is probably the most basic way to get started. Sweet. So if you're new to Gratavid, definitely recommend getting started with this. However, once you get a little bit more advanced, get a little bit more comfortable with it, you can add these milestone integration events. So for example, notice we have this recurring gift on right here. And let's say, it's really great to thank first-time donors, but maybe someone's only given $20. And so you thank them once when they set it up. But, over time, they're going to give 25 gifts, or they might give cumulatively $1,000 or $5,000, or they might give in cumulative of 5 years. And so this is where you can use the Gratavid milestone integration events. So what I can do is I can select this. Then instead of selecting one of these basic ones, I can say, hey, if the constituent's number of gift has reached any of these milestones, so maybe you want to thank people once they've given their 20th gift, and their 25th gift, then their 50th gift, and their 100th gift. And so basically the way this works, create a task, let's assign that to the fundraiser. And so basically the way this works is it says is if the current gift caused it to be the 20th gift or caused it to be the 25th gift, if that contact was already at 20 gifts and the new one, that would make it 26. So this would not trigger. It's just when they reach any of these milestones. Sweet. And so that is for setting it up for if they hit a gift milestone. You could delete this if you weren't crazy about it, but for sake of this demo, I'll add another one. And so we'll say, okay, if none of these evaluate to be true, then we want to thank someone if their cumulative lifetime giving reaches a specific milestone. And so this is the example of, hey, maybe someone's given $10 a month or $20 a month, and you thank them in the beginning, but now you can say, hey, whenever they finally give over their lifetime $1,000 or $5,000 or $10,000, then it's just a really cool way to make sure you're kind of always continuously thanking these people. Of course you should thank them in the beginning, but you need to thank them and make sure that they keep that recurring gift on. Sweet. And so same concept, we'll create a task, or you could, if you wanted to, you could automatically send something, assign it to that fundraiser, then add a little backup value there. Excellent. So those are 2 milestones. We've got some more right here. We say if it's since a specific month, cumulative giving has reached something. So imagine you have some kind of giving society and it starts every year at the beginning of your fiscal year. So maybe you say your fiscal year starts July 1st. So this is basically saying since July 1st, going back, if that's 3 months, then it'll calculate the 3 months since July 1st. If that's 10 months, it'll calculate the 10 months since July 1st. If it's currently July, it'll just look at July. But what that says, it says since July, has anyone crossed the threshold for our giving society, which is at $2,000, or maybe you have one at $5,000. So these are really well when paired with like fiscal years or some kind of giving societies or giving clubs. The difference between this one, let me assign this task just so you can see how it works. And so the difference between this one is this one's going to have a date, whereas this one is going to be total lifetime. So I recommend this one for recurring gifts. Like you don't really care when they've been giving, as long as it's cumulatively they've given over $1,000 in their life. Pretty cool thing to thank someone for. And this one's going to be pretty specific to those giving societies and giving clubs. Excellent. And then the last milestone event is you can say if the constituent has consecutively given for any of these years, and that's where you can say, hey, if someone has given consecutively for 5 years or for 10 years, if any of these trigger, same concept with all these, if any of these hit, then it will evaluate the true, then the rule will run. Sweet. So let's say create a task, assign that to Blackbaud assign fundraiser, and then assign that to backup Jared officer. Sweet. And so the way this one's going to work is it's going to say, hey, if that constituent has consecutively given for 5 years in a row, and then the way this works is it's done by calendar year. So this person would have had to give 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. If there's a gap year, then that will not count. So it kind of starts the count over. So they've had to give every calendar year. It might be the case that you get more of these towards the beginning of the year, maybe in January if people have recurring gifts set on. So, be prepared for that, or maybe we'll kind of get them throughout the year. But basically it's done by calendar year. Sweet. And then for the most part, that is your Blackbaud setup. So I know there's a lot to it. You probably wouldn't have all these on. I would recommend just keeping it simple and doing this right here. So I would recommend having this set up right here. First gifts, you definitely want to trigger gift amount is greater than or equal to 500. It's a really important one. If you feel like you might, let's say you're going to use a lower value and you worry that this might trigger for recurring gifts, you might want to add a secondary condition right here where you said, hey, if the gift type is any of these, and make sure it's like a donation or other, do not include recurring gift payment. And so this way it says, hey, the gift has to be over 50 and it has to be either a donation or other for this to return true. Sweet. So I'd keep that. It's a pretty popular one. You'll figure out what works with your org, $100, $50, whatever it is. Sweet. The next one, this is thanking someone who sets up a recurring gift. So really important, I think, to thank someone once they've set up a recurring gift. If you wanted that gift to be over a certain amount, again, you could stack it right here. So you could say, hey, only thank them for recurring gifts that are set up over $50 or $500, whatever. And you really can stack these as much as you want to. Maybe have a specific campaign. So this is kind of cool. Haven't shown you this yet, but you have these additional filters where you can filter based off constituent code, the state the constituent lives in, campaign package appeals, lifetime giving, did the constituent upgrade their gift? So make sure you check out all these. But this use case, we just want to thank recurring gifts for a specific campaign. And then these campaigns will pull directly from your Blackbaud account. Give it a second. You can select one, you can select many. There you go. Excellent. So this looks good. So we've got first-time donors, gave over $500 donation. Did they set up a recurring gift from either of these campaigns? And then finally is the milestone, which is, in my opinion, probably my favorite. I just think it's so cool. The ability to thank someone, and maybe they've given for 3 years, whatever it is, but once they hit $1,000 or $5,000, just what a cool way to reach out. And for the most part, that is it. That is definitely the recommended setup I would take. So watch this video. I know I probably talk fast. Slow it down if you need to. One last thing you might consider is exclusions. So this is where you could exclude like recurring gift payments or exclude certain campaigns or certain funds. The only catch is you don't want to exclude recurring gift payments if you are using one of these milestones. So just be careful excluding there. That's why I'd recommend, instead of excluding, just include where it makes sense. So include if the gift type is any of these. Whoa, I did a lot of talking, but that is the Blackbaud integration. Pretty powerful, pretty awesome. And the good news is, you set this up one time. You have one person on your team kind of set it up. It takes just a few seconds to connect, but then everyone on your team is going to benefit from this. So tell the fundraisers, hey, download the Gratavid app, and they'll get notified when these conditions are met, and then a task is assigned to them. Wowzers, that is it. That's the Gratavid integration. You can visit the help page to learn more, visit our documentation to learn more, but let us know if you have any questions. See ya.